In the near future, 8 players get enigmatic messages asking them to play a brand new game called The Call Up, which has a $100,000 prize pool. When everyone has reached the 25th floor of a posh building in the city, a robot voice instructs them to sign in using a tablet. They are then instructed to wear the motion capture suits that are provided, and to place all of their personal belongings and clothing in the lockers. Adam is made fun of for being too large for such tight suits when they are changing. Andre says he was a soldier once, and Carl shows off a severe burn scar. They enter a room equipped with a scanner once everyone is prepared. They can then pick up their new equipment after the speaker instructs them to go on the scanner and say their usernames. Adam believed that only the elites had access to this cutting-edge gear suit, which includes a VR helmet that fastens to their spines for complete immersion. Except for Zahid, a Bosnian Muslim who humorously chose the term terrorist without realizing that everyone would see it on the suit. Everyone immediately puts on their gear. He tries to escape because he doesn't want to play like this, but the door is locked and no one answers when he calls for assistance. Zahid decides to play when the other players persuade him that it's not a huge concern. When the voice signals that the training module has begun, everyone puts on their helmets and the simulation starts. The room becomes a post-apocalyptic world that is incredibly realistic. Their tattoos vanish, and military uniforms take the place of their suits. Their hands easily pass through the simulation's items, despite the fact that it feels real. The sergeant then shows up and begins to treat them as if they were brand new privates. He is merely an extremely realistic NPC, and they are unable to touch him either. Lifting their helmets also verifies that he is not present in the room. Following the sergeant, the party enters another chamber where they receive their weapons, which are actually merely props. The gamers are impressed by the realistic recoil when the sergeant asks them to test their guns on a number of bottles. They lose their vests after the sergeant shoots 2 of them after they have been practicing for some time. As the sergeant explains that being hit just once results in losing their protection and leaving them unprotected, they promptly get them restored because it's only a tutorial. They are only given 1 injection of the unique serum in case they are injured after losing the vest. The group's initial goal is to eliminate the hazardous attackers who have taken over this building and make it to the ground floor without getting killed. The real cash prize will be awarded to the winners. Because of his experience, Andre chooses to take charge of the group when the sergeant vanishes and offers advice on how to remain covert. They scan the various rooms until an adversary enters the hallway and starts shooting. The majority of the group hides, but Andre kills the man quickly. They touch the body to verify that it is also an NPC, even as the voice declares that they have reached level 25 and that all the points are for Andre. As they ascend the stairs, they find that if they attempt to exit before completing the level, a device will electrocute them. Andre teaches the gang how to utilize the more sophisticated weaponry they discover when they reach level 24. The first opponent that emerges is killed by Marco as they enter the main room. As their confidence grows, the majority of players start dashing around and hiding behind random items as they eliminate all of the attackers. Andre cuts in to kill the man after Adam wastes all of his rounds without firing a single shot, but he is hit back and loses his vest. Taylor is experiencing a panic attack in the meantime. As it happens, a friend of hers got the invitation and accepted, but she is unable to cope with the reality of the game. Shelley tries to reassure her that this is only a game, but she is also unable to shoot someone when it is her turn. Carl gets shot and loses his vest after killing the terrorist who was threatening the girls. While the enemy shoots Carl again while he tries to surrender, Shelley rushes out to murder him. Shelley and Carl both open their helmets, and Carl can feel the excruciating pain even in person. When they get back to the game, Andre gives Carl the serum injection, which promptly heals him. A traumatic, "This can't be a game," Carl exclaims, opening his helmet once more to vomit in real life. After that, everyone in the group opens their helmets to rest. Carl explains that he experienced actual shocks and speculates that this must be a reality TV show as Adam discovers new weaponry. Marco believes it's a test when Zahid tries to remove his costume in a panic but is unable to do so. Marco agrees when Zahid suggests that this might be a military experiment, claiming that Andre must be their inside guy. After a heated argument, Andre withdraws to the restroom to decompress. The attackers they murdered are brought back to life, and the participants are unaware that the game is still in progress. Andre is cornered by one of them in the restroom, and he barely has time to shut his helmet before being shot down. He has already used the serum on Carl, but he still wants to heal himself. The others shut their helmets in response to the noises, but Edward is shot down right away. Taylor attempts to use the stairs as the party flees to hide, but she is barred because the level isn't finished. The crew does their best to defend themselves as the attackers soon start shooting. While Andre carries his bleeding body through the hallways, Edward uses a serum to cure himself. Adam wins the top score when he throws a grenade, killing all the opponents that are left in the level. The crew can finally hear Andre requesting assistance without the gunfire. Before his brain is electrocuted and he convulses for a few minutes, Andre opens his helmet and hears a timer. Andre is already dead when the others discover him. Shelley makes an unsuccessful attempt at CPR. The gang no longer wants to play, but the voice says they can move on to the next level. After noticing some blood on the ground and realizing that Andre was murdered by the helmet, they attempt to remove them but are unsuccessful. In a panic, Zayed reaches for a fire extinguisher and requests assistance with a test. Zayed strikes Carl with the extinguisher a few times after he volunteers, but the helmet remains in place. The sergeant calls them into the game at that point, marches straight through Carl, and then kicks Zayed many times to discipline him for disobeying the rules. The group is forced to continue when the sergeant threatens to punish them for not playing. Although they have to learn how to utilize new weapons and navigate new game features on each floor, they breeze through a number of levels. They must utilize knives to engage in hand-to-hand combat because they are unable to use firearms in the gas leak room. Taylor's fear is exacerbated by having to kill someone in person, and Shelley assures her that she will get her out of there. The majority of the crew loses their vests as they continue to descend. Shelley and Marco assist Carl and Adam with their serums after they are shot down after a fierce gunfight. When the party takes a break a few hours later, they find that it is actually nighttime. They start beating the windows with different objects because they are tired of playing the game, and Zayed uses a cart to break the glass. The sergeant reappears at that point and begins beating Zayed up with far more force than before. When Zayed tries to flee by using the stairs, the sergeant kicks him, causing him to fall and break a leg. The sergeant declares before departing that the next escapee will be put to death. After saving Zayed, the team discovers that the wound is real but not in the game, which prevents them from using the serum. Zayed requests that they conceal him and depart without him after the computer voice informs them that they must move. After the gang puts him down behind some furniture, Zayed passes away from blood loss a few minutes later. On the next level, Marco gets into a fight with the others about the new weaponry, which causes a concealed enemy to shoot him in the back. Taylor flees to hide in a restroom stall as the team retaliates. A grenade stops the battle again after more gunfire, and Shelley assists Marco with a serum. After learning that Taylor is missing, the squad sets out to find her. The attackers enters the restroom and begins inspecting each stall individually. He is heard by Shelley, who rushes through the door and stabs him first. Edward receives the top score at the end of the level, placing him first on the board. The crew talks about their life during a break and discovers that none of them have any family, indicating that they were picked since no one would seek them out. In this manner, they can be killed and the business will escape punishment. As the group advances, they discover the sergeant a hostage. He warns that if they don't stop it right away, a bomb in the basement will blow up the building and kill them all. Obtaining the code from the prisoner is the only way to disarm it. Edward begins mercilessly electrocuting the man since he is attached to voltage transmitters. The attackers, after unsuccessfully pleading for his life, utters a word, which Adam records on the computer. But in reality, this sets off the bomb, and there are just half an hour to manually deactivate it before it detonates. The hostage laughs at them as the sergeant departs, and Taylor murders him. An enraged Marco accuses Adam of this and tries to punch him, but the helmet hurts his hand. He then opens it to attack his face. Taylor is also struck when she tries to stop him. The sergeant's shouting voice can be heard at that very moment, stating that he is holding the elevator door open. The elevator begins to descend as the group rushes inside, but it stops quite suddenly. Marco pulls to make room for everyone to exit because the doors don't open all the way. However, Marco punishes Adam by blocking his attempt to flee, leaving them both trapped inside. After escorting them to the third floor, the elevator shuts off. Before they begin moving through the level, the pair notices a downed chopper outside the window. Adam kills attackers when Marco makes him go first, but he also runs out of ammunition. Marco continues to use Adam as a shield and pushes him forward in spite of this. As Adam gets shot down and dies in a matter of seconds, Marco is able to flee and hide. When the voice indicates that this level is over, Marco doesn't hesitate to go despite having a breakdown with only 15 minutes remaining. The remaining members of the crew discover various weapons on the fourth floor and begin investigating the area. Carl gets a panic episode and needs to back off when attackers launches a smoke grenade. Carl tells Shelley that he lost his girlfriend in the fire that left him scarred as she rushes to see how he is doing. Smoke is now a trigger for him because he holds himself responsible for not saving her. Shelley soothes him and persuades him to continue moving with a few words. With nearly no ammunition, the crew makes it to floor 1 after continuing to progress through the various levels. Taylor looks around and discovers some serum while the others continue to combat the attackers. Taylor is shot to death by Marco when he abruptly shows up behind her and requests the injection. Marco ignores Carl when he arrives looking for Taylor, acting as though he is being attacked. After becoming alarmed, Carl discovers Taylor's body and discovers that she used her blood to write Marco's username. In real life, an enraged Carl throws off his helmet and attacks Marco, kicking him a couple times before attempting to strangle him. But Carl is pushed against a wall by Marco, who then lowers him and strikes him till they part ways. Marco kicks Carl off after he hits him with a fire extinguisher in retaliation. The sergeant shows there and begins assaulting Marco as he prepares to shoot Carl. The sergeant takes Marco by the neck and strangles him until he passes away after a few strikes. With just 7 minutes left, the 3 players who are left begin to descend after discovering the bodies. The voice informs them that the basement is the last floor when they arrive there. Killing any attacker they come across, the 3 seize the new weapons and search the floor. They attempt to approach the bomb whenever there is a gap, but the adversaries simply keep coming. They can now move more quickly once Carl finishes the battle with a grenade. But as Shelley and Edward go into hiding, a surprise attackers in a van swiftly shoots Carl dead. Shelley learns there are barely 2 minutes left and tries to get to the bomb, but she is also shot down while Carl looks for his serum injection. As he approaches her and heals her, Carl is shot once more. He advises her to triumph before he passes away beside her. With hardly a second remaining, Edward dashes to stop the bomb after killing the final opponent with a bazooka. The sergeant then arrives to congratulate them on their victory. The sergeant has been the company's inside man all along, as Edward reveals when he begins to repeat his spiel. Following the conclusion of the simulation, Shelley is put to sleep by a group of black-clad men before the building is cleaned and the bodies are removed. The game server starts the shutdown process and removes all of the player data. When Shelley awakens in her regular attire in the morning, she discovers Edward in a suit assisting the staff with all of their tasks. When she threatens to call the police, he tells her that no one would believe her and hands her the bag containing the $1,000 prize. Shelley resists and injects the man as he tries to sedate her once more. She then shoots all the lights in the parking lot after stealing his rifle. After all the expertise Shelley gained in the game, she effortlessly kills Edward's men when he sends them after her. Edward pleads for his life when Shelley emerges, but she mercilessly murders him as well. She then departs the building without accepting the cash.